Hi, my name is Andrew Liebman, and today I'll be talking about my internship last summer. Last summer, I worked for a small construction company that works out of the northwestern Montana region called Apex Restoration and Remodel. Apex mainly focuses on three different types of builds. The first being small businesses, the second being custom home builds, and finally, remodels. And also houses damaged in fires and houses that are flooded. The picture to the top left is a picture of a grocery store that Apex did the interior work for. This was finished, I got to work on this for a few weeks, but it was basically just finishing up when I had already arrived there this summer. The image below the Super One's grocery store is part of a 3-store implementation to a local mall, also in the Whitefish area. One of the stores was a Great Clips. This job proved especially hard because they had to cut up 70 feet of concrete and dig down 2 feet in order to get piping into the Great Clips for the rinse stations. The foundation of the mall was already put into place because there was a store prior to Great Clips that had not needed any water. It was a horse store, so they didn't need any water, but obviously Great Clips did. And digging up concrete inside of a building is not fun. One of the other stores that they put in was a hot tub store. This was completed prior to when I arrived. The last image is one of Midway Tavern, which they built the year before I started, but this was a build from the ground up, not a remodel, which they don't always do, but they got the bid for. Custom homes are very common in Montana, especially the log cabin-like architecture. One of the difficulties with building houses in Montana is many times the location that the owner wants the house is not easy for supplies to be driven to and can be on mountains. 2 of the houses that were being built this summer were on the sides of a mountain. One of the properties even had to have part of the mountainside blown up in order to flatten the land out enough before the start of construction could take place because they needed a decent size plot for the house. Building on the side of a mountain also causes difficulties with getting supplies up to the build site. For this particular house that I was just talking about with the blown up mountainside, the materials had to be brought in with 18-wheelers, dropped at the bottom of the mountain, and then brought up the mountain with a bobcat, which, I mean, if you can imagine an 18-wheeler versus a bobcat really can't bring up that much equipment and is much slower. So it's very costly and very timely. It just makes mountainside building extraordinarily difficult. Apex also does a lot of stonework, both interior and exterior. The picture on the left is one of a 26-foot stone chimney that took 3 people roughly 2 weeks to complete. So it's a lot of detailed work, and it's all the stones are carved out by tools. The other picture is the start of a stone patio that was being put in at a house that had already been completed. That was actually at the mountainside house. Lastly, Apex focuses on restoration projects such as flooded houses as well as houses that are burned in fires. Over the summer, I saw one house completely stripped and was beginning the interior reconstruction. This house was due to a flood. Another house had a fire inside and had to be painted with a special paint. This paint was supposed to restrict the smell of smoke from leaving the burned out wood because the structure of the house was actually intact still. So they just wanted to paint over the burned parts of the wood and like repurpose it basically. I think my toughest thing with working with Apex was making sure I was in the right place every day because with so many job sites, it got very complicated and would switch from site to site often. So I just had to always make sure where I was, what I was doing that day, and in order to eliminate my mistakes. I learned many great lessons, especially that mistakes do happen, and just to learn from them and try not to make the same mistake twice. Thank you.